So everybody has bad days. You have bad days, I have bad days. The people around you have bad days. Your boss, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. Everybody goes through bad days in their life. But now, ask yourself this one question. Was it really a bad day? Or was it just a bad moment or two that you experienced and decided to milk it out for the rest of the day? Hence, carrying forth that energy of being frustrated, sad, or angry for that given bad moment, and you just carried forth that emotion throughout the entire day, hence making it a bad day. And when you realize this, it sounds very harsh and mean and very uncomfortable to accept and digest this fact, because most of the times, 90% of the times, people don't have bad days. They just have a bad moment or two, which they decide, to get triggered from these small little things. Now, these may be very small or minor things that people get really triggered about. For example, just forgetting your keys, getting late to work, getting stuck in traffic just for 5 minutes, missing your train, missing your bus. All these may sound like very small things, but people usually, they get so frustrated. They let out so much anger. And actually, letting it out is good. But usually what happens is they carry this forward. This emotion of being annoyed, this emotion of being angry at the traffic, it is there in their mind. It's trapped. And they go to work, they're already in the state of anger, the state of being annoyed. They go inside and they have this emotion of anger inside them. And they're unable, to focus, or at least, have that sense of relief or happiness or joy or focus into that work that they're going to do. And then other things happen. A second incident happens. Let's say they spill their coffee, all right? Or let's say they forgot to add sugar in their coffee. The coffee tastes really bitter. And that, again, elevates that state of annoyance, that state of anger, that state of discomfort, that state of being, very irritated on the inside. Now this compounds. Now they don't release it. All these small things add up. They start getting triggered more and more, and they're just holding it inside. They're unable to release it completely throughout their day. And then they come back from an 8-hour shift or a 9-hour shift. Again, sit in traffic, come back home, and it's dark outside. They just walk up, and then the shirt gets stuck to the doorknob. And now they're pissed. They just punch a hole into the wall. They're so frustrated, they're so angry, then they'll let it out on the people that are there inside their homes. Now this is what happens, and they give an excuse that I had a bad day. I had a really shitty day. I'm sorry, honey. I was a little aggressive today. I'm sorry that I shouted at you. It's just, I had a bad day. Honey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my voice at you. I had a bad day. My son, I'm sorry, I hit you. I had a bad day. You see how these excuses compound over time with each people that you have relationships with. And this affects the people around you more than you think it does. Because that's what happens when you start getting triggered out of small things that happen, all these minor inconveniences that happen to you all throughout the day. Now let's say, for an example, a balloon is carrying all your emotions that you experience throughout the day. It's getting bigger and bigger. There's anger, there's hate, there's discomfort. There's all these minor inconveniences that happened throughout the entire day, and the balloon is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when you come back home, and his shirt gets stuck in the doorknob, it's like a needle poking that balloon. Especially when you walk inside and you see your girlfriend or your wife just sitting there on the couch, and talking to her best friend and talking shit about you. That time it triggers you. And when you get triggered and when the balloon explodes, you go lash out. You're completely out of control. You say things that you can never take back. And this is how relationships start getting destroyed. Now you can be like, man, like I didn't know that I should stop getting triggered from these minor inconveniences or any small incidents. That's a relatable argument, and I know the place you're coming from. But the thing is, many people know this. Many people know that it is wrong to start getting triggered from minor inconveniences and burst out on people. But the thing is, they can't help it. They're unable to control their level of emotion of anger, their frustration and irritation, and being uncomfortable. That feeling of pressure, it just breaks, man. And even though they know that this is wrong and is not how it should be, they're unable to control it. They can't control themselves, they can't contain themselves. This is because they don't know how their emotions are being processed. They don't know that they have been holding on so much pain, so much frustration for such a long time. They didn't know a way to release them, in a healthy way and deal with these emotions and actually let go of them, instead of making it build up, and then when it hits a trigger point, they finally burst. If you want to stop actually getting triggered from these small inconveniences, which actually result in you having a really shitty or a bad day, what you have to do is, number one, first, find a healthy release mechanism. What I mean is, you have to find a healthy way to release that emotion of anger or any negative or positive emotion and not hold it inside. Going to the gym is a great example on releasing your anger, releasing pain, or any frustration that you have with anybody or anything. Now the thing is, many people just go to the gym. I'm not criticizing them. They have amazing self-discipline, motivation, and consistency to work out every single day for a year or even 2 years and get that amazing physique. But the thing is, many people just become gym rats. Now going to the gym is their new form of addiction. They go into the gym to escape the pain, to escape the trauma, to escape whatever hurt that they have experienced in their life. Now that's a good way to release that emotion of pain and anger, but they're also numbing themselves to these emotions. And this is not going to work or help you in the long run until you sit down with those emotions and actually let go of them, actually process them and understand why you're feeling this way. Now, as I mentioned, the people who go to the gym and work out on a regular basis have the ability to release their anger and pain in a healthy way that actually benefits their body and health. But at the same time, when you go and ask these people or even talk about the incident that got them heartbroken and motivated them to go join a gym, start working out regularly, you can see the emotions in their eyes. They're still not over it. Now, here's two different perspectives. You have a guy that goes to the gym to have a healthy release of his emotions, to overcome the pain, the hurtfulness, and all the hurtful things that he has experienced in his life. And then you have another guy who gets blackout drunk, goes to the club, screams, sings on top of his lungs, dances, and he's also releasing that stress, that form of pain, that form of emotions that actually stir him up on the inside. He's releasing them. One is having a healthy release of emotions. The other one is having a not so healthy release of emotions. Now the only difference from both these guys is both of them are still attached to the incidents that made them heartbroken, that got them heartbroken, that made them experience extreme pain, that made them experience extreme trauma. Both of these people are just using different forms of coping mechanisms. One is a healthy way and one is an unhealthy way. So for you to jump from an unhealthy way to an healthy way is still a win, but that is not the end result. You still have to elevate and have no attachment to the original situations or your past that actually put you through this path. Now, if I tell you the most traumatic situation in your life, you must feel no emotions. It must be just like information to you. And that is how you know that you have overcome your past trauma, the past hurt, the pain that has been inflicted upon you. And now, when you have healthy forms of releasing your emotions on a regular basis, such as going to the gym, or it may be even immersing yourself in any creative endeavor, such as playing the drums, even if it's for just 30 minutes every single day. If you're immersing yourself and really actually releasing your emotions on a regular basis, you tend to find yourself not getting triggered on minor things, because you can try it. You can just try it after watching this video. Go do something that you actually enjoy, something where your mind is focused. They say a concentrated mind, a focused mind is a happy mind. So when you're completely focused and you're releasing that emotions that you hold, that you've been holding for so long on the inside, it kind of relieves yourself. You get into this state of relief and you're much more open, have a much better perspective on other things. And when your shirt gets stuck to the doorknob, you're not getting as triggered as you were getting before. You still get a little bit triggered, but you know how to release these emotions of trigger. And now, this is just the first step. And the real step is dealing with the emotions that triggers you, have triggered you. And these emotions may be in the present moment, or these emotions are from the past. Because most of the times people are holding in emotions that they have experienced months ago, years ago, or even decades ago, if you lived long enough. And the thing is, most of the times they're unable to let go of things that have happened to them in the past. And this is where, once you have a healthy form of release, you are actually much more willing, your mind is actually much more willing to sit down, concentrate, and actually feel the emotions and contemplate on why you're feeling certain ways. Now let me share a personal experience of mine. As a kid, I was a really extroverted person. I am naturally an extroverted person. I like to talk to people. I like to communicate. I like to be open, especially of everything that's running in my mind. I really can't, contain things that are running in my mind. I can filter it out, but it has to come out of my mouth. So in first grade, the teacher asked the class a question, and I raised my hand up. I just stood up and answered it confidently. I was a really extroverted kid, and I answered it just like that. And the teacher said, "You idiot. That is the wrong answer." And the whole class decided to laugh at that. Now that incident is not a very big incident, but for me as a kid, the school was the entire world. And when the teacher called me an idiot and everybody laughed at me, it kind of, hampered my confidence. And the next time I was thinking like, oh my God, if I open up, if I'm really extroverted, open up and say what's in my mind, I will get disappointment. I will be called an idiot. People will laugh at me. And this actually compounded over the years. And at that moment, I wasn't really, ashamed. I wasn't really scared. But after a year, after 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, looking back at that moment, right, it made me go into this phase of introversion. In my teenage years, the middle teenage years, I was an introverted person, but I'm actually not an introvert. Now, the reason why many years I had been in the state of introversion, even though that was not my natural state, is because I remember the time I opened up and the teacher told me to shut up. I opened up and some people told me to shut up. And I thought that, oh my God, if I open up about the things in my mind, if I'm being my natural state, people don't like it, and that is a threat. And it took me a really long time to actually reflect upon this and realize this is the reason why I'm unable to open up to people. This is the reason why I have emotional unavailability issues for many people that I have relationships with. Now, it took me a long time to realize this, work on it, and actually let go of it. And this is the reason I even made this video up, because most of you guys out there, right, who are getting triggered by these small incidents, you can find a release mechanism, a healthy release mechanism, and really forget about this pain and not get triggered at all. But it is going to stay inside you. These emotions, the reasons why you have all these problems, right, the reasons why you're getting triggered is because you have not let go of that initial moments, let go of incidents that have actually initiated the trigger response, such as anger, hate, jealousy, shame, guilt. And this may be 5 years ago, 10 years ago. This may be the earliest part of your childhood. You just gotta sit down, contemplate, and ask yourself, why do I react in a certain way while experiencing these emotions? Because experiencing emotions such as hate, anger, and guilt are not bad. These are human emotions, and I've said this multiple times in various videos of mine. But the thing is, we feel guilty for experiencing these emotions because society has conditioned us into believing that having jealousy is a bad thing. Experiencing anger is a bad thing. Now, this is so quote-unquote social conditioning that's been done to us over a period of years. And most of the times you look back and actually realize what's going on inside your mind, why you're feeling certain emotions, where it originated from. And you actually find the root source and let go of that emotion and realize, okay, I can be my true self again without, putting on this filter, without putting on an act to impress people. That is when you actually start living life. You start to experience each and every single moment for the first time. You get this childlike innocence, man. Because at that time, you're okay if you miss your train. It's okay if you forget your keys. It's okay if you drop your coffee. Those small minor things don't trigger you anymore because you have identified why you're getting triggered. Because something is really broken inside. Something was unresolved. And when you go back and find out what these things are that have been unresolved, and why are the reasons that, what are the emotions? What are the incidents that kind of broke this thing on the inside, that kind of broke you as a person? When you identify them and learn to let go of them, that is when life starts becoming more beautiful. That is when you stop getting triggered, especially when your shirt gets stuck in the doorknob. And I'm not saying this, everybody just mults out one or two situations or just overbloats 2 or 3 bad incidents and calls it a bad day, because there are various incidents where you actually legitimately have bad days. For example, let's say you get into an accident, let's say you get fired. It is a bad day. Now, instead of just ignoring or suppressing the feeling that arises, especially when you have a legitimately bad day, experience it. For example, let's say you get fired from your job. Instead of just shoving it out, shoving it back into that pile of emotions, and thinking that it's your wardrobe and you can just fold your clothes and chuck it inside, feel that emotion. Oh yes, man, I got fired today. And actually experience that pain. Because when you actually experience it, you have the ability to let go of it. Your mind naturally let go of it. Many people are unable to let go of their emotions is because they have not experienced it fully. They have not allowed themselves to experience the complete pain. They just felt guilty for experiencing all these bad emotions. The people who just get triggered and hold on these emotions for so long, and it's so hard for them to let go of these, is because they have not allowed themselves to experience these emotions on a full basis. On a complete level, they have not allowed themselves to experience these emotions, be it anger, be it hate, be it even joy and happiness. Many people, you take them to a movie, you take them to the best movie in the world, you take them to a most beautiful place, and they're unable to express that happiness. It's because they've always suppressed it. They've always suppressed that emotions. Oh my God, what will other people say? Oh my God, society has conditioned me into believing that I must not express my emotions, that I'm quote unquote a subtle human being. I'm James Bond. I don't show emotions in my face. Well, if it's your nature to show emotions and you go completely against it, there's a form of resistance. And this resistance causes you to, pile up the emotions one by one. And one day, it just triggers and blasts out. It just triggers and it just blasts out. And you can't do anything about it. And that is why it's so hard for people to actually sit down and let go of it. Because they've never experienced that emotion completely. And I know it's hard. I really know that how hard it is to, go back and replay the moments that actually triggered you. Go back to those stuffed emotions, go back to the stuffed things back in your mind, waking it up and actually feeling it completely. It is very intense. And I hope you have the strength to deal with this, because this is the only way where you can achieve a state of calmness, where you don't get triggered by these normal small things. And this is the way, and once you do this right, you just see life is much more beautiful. You start to appreciate the little things in life. This helps you to have much better relationships with people, because now you don't simply start yelling at them because you had a bad day. When you have 2 or 3 bad incidents, you just let out some curse words, let out the frustration, you can punch a hole in the wall, and then you're all right. You don't have to carry forward that weight. You don't have to have the fear of anybody judging you. You don't have the fear of society labeling you something, because you know what you are and you have worked on these emotions. And life is beautiful. And that's how you start to have many beautiful experiences. And you're much more in tune with nature. Even seeing the sunrise makes you happy because you're not clouded by all these things that have been triggering you. You're walking down, the sunset hits your face, the breeze is blowing your hair, and it really feels beautiful, man. Even the smallest moments, you start to find joy in them. And I feel this is a pathway to live or experience a happy and content life. And I really hope that everybody watches the video and to work on these emotions and have an amazing life. And that's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you actually got your shirt stuck in a doorknob and got triggered out of it, just let me know them down in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.